What's going on, Wolves and Warriors? My name's Jase Stewart, and this is the Better Body Academy podcast, the #1 show for those looking to permanently overhaul their mind and body without dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. We banish the fitness industry BS and replace it with science-backed strategies proven through countless client transformations. In the Better Body Academy, we help busy men and women around the world get unstuck and back into momentum so they start feeling strong and sexy again. Our mission is to transform 1 million lives, and you, my friend, could be next. And on that note, let's get straight into today's show. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast, guys. This is your podcast if you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And I've got to tell you, today I'm super pumped. I'm super pumped. I've already been live inside our community, but we're going to be discussing in this episode the idea of what is holding you back. And we are going to be paying special attention to one of our current mastermind students, okay? Today, some really good news has happened to one of our current mastermind students. And I've got to say, this is a complete life changer for him. And so if you're watching live and you want to kind of get excited for him in the comments, feel free to do so. So I'm going to be challenging you with this question, okay? What is truly holding you back? What is truly holding you back? Not kind of like a little bit holding you back, but what is actually holding you back when you tear off the layers, okay? And I'm going to leave it to you to decide whether we're talking holding you back from what is your health, your wealth, your relationships, whatever it is you want in life. This doesn't just apply to a transformation physically. I'm going to ask you to look at it in the context of your life. What is holding you back from where you want to get to? Now, I'm going to start by, I guess, leveling with a lot of us and letting you know that I understand the feeling of being stuck, okay? In my previous life, I worked in a typical corporate job, and to be honest, I liked it, and it was good for a good slab of the time. But eventually I got to a point where I felt like I had more to do in the world, and I wasn't expressing, and I went home with a feeling of lack of recognition and almost like I was trading time for money, and I felt like something was missing. So give me like a silent head nod if you're kind of watching live or you're listening at home to this podcast and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The idea of just being like, oh man, every day feels like Groundhog Day, it feels like the next. That's what the feeling of stuck feels like. It feels like you've got this background kind of low-level drone where it's not that your life is bad, but you're just thinking to yourself, I've got so much more to give than what I'm currently doing, and if my life ended now, I will not be happy. And the reason is because I just don't feel like I am playing at the level that I'm capable of. So I understand totally the feeling of being stuck. And so what I also understand is, given we've transformed over 500 lives inside the Better Body Academy, what I also understand is what men and women go through mentally when they are stuck. This feeling of like, oh man, like I'm treading water. Like I'm just not where I want to be. And it's this idea called learned helplessness, okay? Learned helplessness is when you feel or you believe that your current circumstances, doesn't matter what you do, will be your future circumstances no matter what you do. It's this idea that because my past has been this, my future's going to be this. It's called learned helplessness. You have learned to be helpless to your situation. That's what the feeling of being stuck is all about. And that probably came about because you've talked to yourself in such a shitty way for a long period of time that the idea of you potentially entertaining another reality just seems too much. Does this make sense? So I want you to consider in this moment that if we could park the idea that, my life is my life and there's not a lot I can do about it, I just want you to entertain the idea that if you got started in a transformation of either your career, your wealth, your health, your relationships, whatever it is that you would like to improve, well, what if it all worked out? What if instead of giving in to learned helplessness, it all worked out? How would your life change if you took the jump? Either into a new career, a new relationship, a physical transformation? How could your life potentially change if it all worked out? Would you be able to have more time with the kids? Would you be able to run around with the kids? Would you feel more confident? Would you be sleeping better? Would you have more energy at work? Perhaps you might have better sex. Perhaps you might wake up in the morning and like what you see in the mirror. What if it all worked out? The reason I want to bring up this question is I want to talk to you about one of my clients, and I pre-framed this at the start. And I want to give you the story of one of my clients who I am celebrating to the hilltops today. His name is Russell. And Rusty came to us in the Better Body Academy about 6 months ago after seeing one of his mates that had transformed in the academy. And he wanted a transformation. He needed to lose 10 kilograms. And the reason that he needed to lose 10 kilograms was because he was on the donor list for a kidney transplant, okay? He was close to 135 kilograms at the time, and Rusty isn't the tallest of guys. And because he was on the donor list, he needed to basically lose these 10 kilos so that, number one, he qualified for the surgery, and number two, that it could be that he could safely have the surgery. And so at this stage, Rusty was on dialysis for, hours upon hours every second day. So if you don't know what dialysis is, you're basically strapped up to a machine of which that machine plays the role of filtering your blood so that the poisonous components, the waste of your blood, doesn't build up. It's effectively like having an external kidney. So every second day, Russ needs to be strapped up to this apparatus that basically filters his blood for him. So you can imagine how much of an impact that this would actually be on his quality of life, right? So when we started our transformation, we spoke, and Rusty was full of resistance. And the reason that he was full of resistance was because he'd just done a period of months with a personal trainer, and he'd paid all the dollars and really lost no weight. So he's no closer to his actual goals. And we all know what that's like. We've all invested in something that hasn't worked out to be what we thought it would be. One of the questions you've got to ask yourself is, was it me or was it the thing, the tool? Now, I've seen the way that Russell has worked inside of our academy, and I'd have to lean towards thinking that at that point in time, it was the tool that wasn't working. And when we got on the phone, he was just full of resistance. And I could see all of this fear of failure, fear of spending money, what if it doesn't work, coming up in him again, which is completely natural. But at this stage, he needed to lose the weight because it was his only option to getting a transplant. And he needed to get the tools and the accountability to do it. Now, Russell proceeded in the program. Fast forward 6 months, I'm just going to tell you that Russell is down, not 10 kilograms, he's down 23 kilograms. He's 26 centimeters off his waist circumference. But most importantly, Russell gets a call this morning at around 1 a.m. local time. And he gets told, we've got you a kidney. We've got you a kidney. He gets told to get prepared because in around 7 to 8 hours, you're going to be having surgery to hopefully get you off this machine permanently by giving you a new kidney that's going to take care of all the normal dialysis for you and work perfectly, and you won't have to be strapped to a machine. Can you imagine what that feeling would be like after waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for such a period of time? Like, I don't think anyone here who has not been in that situation or a situation similar to that with someone very close to them can possibly imagine what that would feel like to get that call. After all the work that Russell's put in, it's finally come to fruition that he's going in as we speak to get an operation. I want you to think about this. With all of the hesitation and all of the reasons that Russell had to not start again on his transformation. He'd spent the money. He's already spent the money on a PT. He'd already tried and it didn't work. He has a family. He's like a busy, busy guy. He's got kids coming out everywhere. He's got a missus. He's got a job. And he's almost got another full-time job every second day where he needs to be strapped to a dialysis machine, where he can't do anything apart from read a book. That's his situation. And so for the rest of us, we get caught up in this idea that I just can't do it because we've learned to think that way. This is a story that we've told ourselves over and over and over and over and over again, but a story is not fact. Because we've repeated this story over and over again, we've believed the story. And because we believe the story, we stay trapped. Russell changed the story. 6 months ago, he changed the story. 6 months later, he's changed his life. He's got a new kidney coming today. Can you just imagine how his life is going to change off the back of this? And there's 3 takeaways that I want you to grab from this podcast episode and perhaps think about on a deeper level. Number 1, if you want something bad, you have to be willing to try and try and try and try. It is only considered a failure when you give up. When you finally reach the point of resignment where you say, you know what? It's too hard. I succumb. I can't do it. That's the only point of which it becomes a failure. For everything else up until that point, you are simply moving through, testing what works, strengthening your resolve, callousing your mind. But until you finally give up, that's the only point that it becomes a failure. And Russell was not willing to do that. The persistence got him somewhere. Number 2 takeaway. If you can't do it on your own, this doesn't mean you are weak. I cannot build a house on my own. I don't know the first thing about building a house. It's just that I don't have the tools and the knowledge around how to build a house. So if you're at the point where you've realized that you don't have the tools to do it on your own and you don't have the accountability in your life, then what you need to do is find someone who's already doing it. Find a community that you can put around you to provide some accountability for yourself. You can't do it on your own. It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. Rusty asked for help. He got the help, and instead of just losing 10 kilograms, he lost 23 kilograms, and he's now got a new kidney coming. And number 3, the takeaway number 3, what are your actual limitations? We've got a guy here who's lost 23 kilograms while being hooked up to a machine, being a dad, being a partner, having a job. He is the definition of no time. He's the exact definition of no time. Yet because he had a burning desire to change his circumstances, guess what? He won out. He won out. He persisted. Why do we have this mentality that all of the challenges in our life are going to be fixed within 3 months? It doesn't work like that. So again, as I plead with you during these podcasts, if you feel like you're stuck, it's not because you're useless. It's not because you're a failure. It's just because at this point in time, either one, you haven't found the burning desire to get you into true momentum, or number two, you're lacking the tools and accountability. It feels like you're spinning your wheels. This doesn't make you a failure. I'll come and say it again. I wouldn't try to build my own house because I don't know the first thing about building a house. So if the house could be an analogy for your mind and body, and you don't know the first thing to how to go about building it back into something that is optimistic and working the way you want it to, then ask for help. Stop suffering in silence and letting years go past to which you do nothing but stay a victim. Our main man, Russell, 6 months ago, despite previous failed attempts to fix this weight problem that he had the courage to ask for help. And now he goes into hospital to take place of a new kidney. Changes his whole life outlook. And now we can start to dream about what it looks like when you don't have to dedicate a third of your day to being strapped to a machine. I mean, if that's not inspiring, I don't know what is. So I wanted to come in this afternoon, and share with you this message because I think that there's a lot of us out there that kind of look at our situation and have not cottoned on to the idea that we have just learned to think in a limited fashion. How about we just think about the idea of what if it all went right? What if I got to where I wanted to go? What if? If he can do it, I can do it. Some words of wisdom this morning. If you're watching live on either Facebook or Instagram, I'd love you to send some massive love here to our man, Russell, and good luck with his operation surgery today. Guys, for those of you that are watching, I appreciate your support. I hope this really helped, really slap some faces in a way. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs, and I will see you in the next episode. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining. If you have watched this, or if you do replay this later on, I want you to tag our boy Russell in the comments and shout him out. Can you imagine what this is like? And he reckons he's not nervous at this stage. That is so cool that he's not nervous. But just picture yourself in that situation where, you're kind of what you've wanted and prayed for a long period of time has kind of come to fruition as a reward for your hard work. I think that this is, I get kind of emotional about it actually. Anyway, I'm going to cut it off there, guys. Thanks for joining me live in this episode, and we will see you in the next. Wolves and Warriors, thank you so much for tuning in. If this podcast is hitting the mark for you and giving you the confidence to start your own personal journey, I want you to hit me up on Facebook or head over to my Instagram at JStewart_BetterBodyAcademy and DM me with the words Better Body Academy. I want to give you the tools to permanently overhaul your mind and body without dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. Our mission is to achieve 1 million lives transformed, and you, my friend, could be next. So hit me up on Facebook or head over to my Instagram at JStewart_BetterBodyAcademy and DM me with the words Better Body Academy, and we can have a chat about whether we can help you with your transformation goals.